Guys, in this training, I'm going to be going through the FIFO macros playbook. Okay, so this is how we can stay on track with our nutrition whilst we're on site. Remember, I worked in the fly in, fly out in the mining industry for 14 years. Like, there is a lot of shit on hand. There's a lot of things that's easy to grab: ice cream, sweets, chocolates, all those types of things. There's also all the stuff that we need as well. There's a lot of protein, there's a lot of veggies and fibre, and there's some healthy carbohydrates and fats there as well. So change our lens in terms of what we're looking for, we'll end up in a much, much better place, okay? So when we build our meals, we build around three priorities. Protein first, then we're going to go from veg to add a little bit of micronutrients and obviously fibre into our meal. And then we're looking at carbs and fats dependent on calories. Okay, so common protein sources, this is what we're going to have. Grilled chicken breast, the kind of cooked chicken stuff that you get in the bain marie. Maybe you get a lean beef or steak kind of cooked on get the chef to cook it up for you. At the bain marie you'll have, or in the places where you go and make your smoke go up and things like that, you'll have boiled eggs, tuna, Greek yogurt. Bring your protein powder with you. There'll be cottage cheese there, probably not the best stuff. Some places have the pre-cooked meals. Again, go for the high protein, the leanest kind of protein. Watch out for the sauces. Try and stay away from the sauces and things like that. Sometimes you get like a roast beef veg and rice, or roast beef veg and potatoes. Like, that's a decent one to kind of work with. They might get a chicken veg and rice, or a chicken veg and something. Those would be what you'd be looking for, as opposed to like curries or things like that, where you're going to have a lot of oil, probably going to be using fattier cuts of meat and things like that as well. Veg options, okay, so steamed, you'll usually have steamed broccoli, cauliflower, carrot mix, sometimes green beans. Again, it's not the best, it definitely isn't the best stuff, but you know, if you fill it up on your plate, you can do all right. You might get some zucchini, you might get some pumpkin if you're lucky. Sometimes they do like capsicum, onion, mushroom kind of mix thing there as well, or else you can go the bain marie side and the kind of smokehouse side and get where the salad type stuff, the cold stuff kind of lives there as well. So decent things that we can bulk. The whole point of the kind of veg and this type of stuff is to bulk up our plate, especially if we're in a fat loss phase. We're looking to control the amount of calories that we're taking in. So bulking up our plate as much as we can with these vegetables and salads and things like that, whatever we can get our hands on, the best options that we can make, then that's what we want to be doing. And then looking at the carb options, okay, white rice, brown rice. I used to take my own packet rice up with me because I knew I could have my meal. I know there's always going to be chicken. I know I've always got my own packet rice with me, and I just take like a coconut sriracha sauce type thing, to like a low calorie sauce, to just make it palatable there. If we're looking at potatoes, sometimes you get roast potatoes, sweet potatoes. Again, you want the stuff that's not like drowning in oil. You get like the little baby potatoes, usually they're just kind of boiled. They're a decent option there. You'll have bread, wraps, fruit and stuff like that is all there as well. So that's the kind of carbohydrates that we'll try to look to incorporate. Try to stay away from the chips and the things that are kind of drowning in oil. Now, at breakfast, what I used to do myself was just take my own stuff and make overnight oats. I used to take a packet of oats. I used to take a few unsweetened almond milks up to site, and I used to take my protein powder there as well, and some fruit. Actually, I used to take some frozen blueberries, keep them up in a freezer bag, take them up to site, put them in my freezer when I got to work, and I'd make overnight oats, and that was my breakfast every morning. After I'd go train in the morning, when I come back, I'd have my overnight oats. So you could do an overnight wheat bix, you could do an overnight oats type thing, or else you could go and you could do something like hard-boiled eggs, fruit, rice cake, something like that would be something that you would get from the mess, or you could go for like a cooked breakfast option as well. Like, so if you're going to go for a cooked breakfast, what could you do? I think the fried eggs they're not fried in oil. I would stay away from the poached eggs. Used to always be a bit watery. The scrambled eggs was always disgusting. It was that powdered stuff. I would always stay away from that. So if I was going to do anything, I would get like, say, 3 fried eggs, couple of bits of toast, and then maybe if there's some mushroom, some tomato, some spinach, something like that there, I would have that, and then I would have a protein shake with it, because 3 eggs isn't a heap of protein. That's only like 18 grams of protein, so I would have like another protein shake with that if I was going to have a cooked breakfast. But I very, very rarely ever had a cooked breakfast. The overnight oats worked well for me. Then if I was looking at lunch on site, right, you can make wraps, you can make chicken salad wraps, you can make chicken salad sandwiches. You can make just chicken, veg and rice, which is kind of what I used to have, and then I would always just have my coconut sriracha, my sauce or whatever, and with it. It's not brilliant, like it isn't. I'm not going to lie to you. It's eating the same shit every day. It isn't super enjoyable. But at the end of the day, it's the best of a bad situation. You can try and rotate things. You're just looking at the leanest possible meats. And the way that I looked at this is I'm just trying to simplify things. Things that is always there. Watermelon's always there. Watermelon's super easy to snack on. 500 grams of watermelon, I think, is about 120 calories, 150 calories. So bugger all, half a kilo of food for 150 calories is a good return. So again, if I was going to snack on something, or in the evening, like when you'd go and get ice cream on the way out, don't go and get ice cream. Just go and get some watermelon in a cup and take that away up the road with you. It's not the same as ice cream. I'm not going to begin to say that it is, but it's a far better option, and it's still aligned with what you're trying to do, and it's still keeping up that routine of having something after your dinner, okay? Then if we're looking at the dinner, so I would weigh my chicken and stuff like that for when I was on site. Like at my breakfast I made in my room, my chicken and rice, whatever I had on when I was at work, I would weigh that out. So I knew half a packet of rice, I didn't really need to weigh that, but you just make sure. And once I kind of knew what the chicken was, I didn't really need to keep weighing that. But initially, I would know exactly what was in that meal. But for dinner, I never ever weighed dinner once, and I never would. I'm not going to start whipping scales out at that time at night in a busy mess. You don't need to. I just went in and I went, right, okay, I'm going to get a steak, and then I'm going to get a lot of veg, and then just depending on where my calories are at the moment. If I'm dieting, I'm probably not even going to have any carbohydrates, just to kind of stay off those little kind of boiled potatoes. Might have a couple of them. I would just have my calories all throughout the day, like my carbohydrates throughout the day, because I knew that was under control, rather than try to get it in at night, trying to look for 200 calories in the evening, and you don't have any healthy sources there. Like there's only chips, for example, which again is no the carbohydrate source that you're really looking for. You're not going to get a massive lift in training performance. But again, if this is what I'm doing, I would just always, and then when I tracked it, I would just track it in MyFitnessPal or Chronometer now, and I would just add in 150 calories for oil. So you just add in a tablespoon of oil to every meal, and you account for the oil that they ultimately use in everything that they cook there as well. Again, you can use a hand portion guide, so a palm-sized and palm thickness serving of protein is somewhere between 20 and 30 grams of protein. A cupped handful of carbs is between 20 and 30 grams of carbs. A thumb size serving of fats, be it if that's a few nuts or avocado or whatever, is about 70 or 100 calories. A fistful of veg, about 50 calories. So again, if I'm looking at calorie perspective, I'm throwing fistfuls of veggies in. So if you're looking at a meal, 2 palms of protein, 1 to 2 cupped handfuls of carbs. A thumb of fat I wouldn't worry about, because the oil's already being used to cook the foods. And then 2 fistfuls of veg, somewhere between 500 and 700 calories. That's probably going to be for most people, and that's going to be everything that you need to do there, okay? So consistent choices make it easier. I just eat the same shit most of the days, and it just makes things easier. One less thing to think about. In the mess halls, all the hard work's done for you. All the cooking's already done. You don't have to do any cleaning. You don't have to do any dishes. You just have to pick the right things and eat the right things. So focus on filling your plate with protein and vegetables first, and then make changes off the back of that if you need to, okay?